to the other side. And then we now see hunger and desperation in the lives of Nigerians. Then another issue is its direct impact on transport sector. The transport sector takes the direct even from to Enugu, where they used to take by commercial vehicle, they used to take like 3,000 naira or 2,000 something naira. But now, if you go there, it's about 5,000 to 6,000 naira to reach Enugu now. This is more than 100% increase in the rate of inflation that is related to transport. And when transport is involved, it means that it will be transmitted to all other sectors because almost every sector utilizes transport. It also reduces growth in the economy because when there is low productivity, when there is logistic problems, when there is low capacity utilization in the economy, an economy that is almost grounded to a halt as a result of no fuel, then what does it tell? We are just trying to recover from recession, and then we are not producing again. GDP now gets lower, if not stagnant. So this has impact on the economy of the country, but on a negative direction. Yes. Then there is also the problem of our lingering case of insecurity. As we have more fuel crisis, there is a tendency for people to say enough is enough. We are tired. There is high level of desperation, high level of poverty, and when people are so desperate as a result of this scarcity, a time will come when they will rise up like MSAS, and then you begin to see that we can no longer tolerate this, and there will be a movement that will begin to chase this government out of power. It is a prophecy out of economic realities. I'm not saying that they should do that, but these are inevitable ends of this type of negative impact on an economy without sensitive response to it. That social aspect still has to do with the issue of hoarding. We saw on the social media trending very well how it became so bad that we are now using petrol as souvenir to give to people who attend the wedding ceremony. When I saw that clip, what came to my mind is that, God, thank you, that nobody was smoking cigarettes in that place.
Yeah.
If somebody was smoking cigarettes around that place where they were sharing that so-called souvenir of petrol, as a result of this lack of petrol or the lingering scarcity, then the whole people who attended that ceremony would have died as a result of fire outbreak. This is the kind of risk that we stand to face. And then do you know how many homes people are storing black market kind of jerrycans of petrol so that they can make money out of this opportunity.
Okay, now I'll come back to you, please. Yeah. There are some germane points you've raised here. Let me take it back to Pat. Now, if this lingering fuel scarcity, one of the consequences is precipitation of inflation, and which trickles down to a lower GDP. I'm wondering, Pat, why the government of the day seems not to be bothered.
If you heard me right, I just pointed out in my last submission that the reason is we have crop of leaders in this government whose preoccupation is about the next election to the detriment of the well-being of the majority.
So how do you plan the next election when the GDP is low?
So that's it. That's what we need to know now. There's a difference between what the people need to hear and what they need to know. Since 1999, we were privileged to know The political class has succeeded in telling the people what they want to hear. So that's the point. That's why nations are built by ordinary people. And that's one misunderstanding. Now we keep talking about leadership. It is now getting clearer that there is also a bigger problem with followership. That's the only way we can check the excesses of these few in God. Because as long as I'm concerned, they are very few. The suffering masses is far more than the few that are oppressing us. So, but what is missing, because like Steve Biko put it in one of the anti-apartheid icons, that the strongest weapon in the hand of the oppressor is ignorance. So if you look around us, you find Nigerians, while they are suffering, rather than seeking for the right knowledge, arm themselves with the right knowledge to be able to interrogate leadership, they wouldn't. Everybody is busy with things that do not touch, equip them, because you like it or not, that's what some of us have discovered. Otherwise, why wouldn't they be sensitive to the difficult situations we are facing? Now, while they are thinking of the next election, the same people will go around. In fact, even as we speak now, groups are popping up. All you hear is, he's not sick, he's strong, it's our turn, it's not our turn. And you begin to ask yourself, are these not the same oppressed people? So it clearly tells you that it's evolved or developed to a point of where every man lives, perhaps that also explains why citizens don't want to take individual and collective responsibility to commit their time and energy and focus on checking the excesses of these few leaders. Because all the religious leaders are busy telling them now, if you look around us, they keep springing up places that are supposed to be spaces for factory production. You find one street over 20-something church buildings. All their concern is they want you to believe that salvation and prosperity means, wisdom had already given man what he needs to explore and, develop this earth. So it doesn't need you to be subject to anybody. But rather than we now confronting our fears, some of these religious groups have made. That's why if you bring the issue of, government is doing this to us, let us come. Oh, they say, no. That's not the way to go about it. But the same people, these government officials will come around and share peanuts and what have you. They wrongly think that represents their right, one, and that represents development, only to suddenly realize that they are still where they are. For example, now, power supply is at the center of economic development. Everybody now is government on its own. Go around, you find every street now, street gates, while we are taxpayers' money is used for police. You now need to recruit some untrained fellows who will be pointing you touch anyhow at your street gate. You now limit, perhaps your business partner needs 9 p.m. to come and try. You say, no visitor allowed 8 p.m. So, and every day I keep chatting, it means that the society, so how can a free society tolerate that? Clearly it tells you that two things. Is either you don't also have lawyers in societies, or that the people actually, they let nobody think there's going to be a spectacular event that is going to free us from these shackles. It has to be the contribution by individuals and collectively to continue to interrogate the excesses, making these leaders know that they are our servants, we are their masters. If it is not true, why are they coming to seek our votes? And the system says that, the law we practice says that the power is actually, the constitution itself derive power from the people. So it means that at every material time, the way the few leaders exercise the power ought to be understood by the people from which they derive it. But here, you see them accepting that if a public officer wants to do something, is charity. Their idea of elevating poverty is a public officer, either governor, president, senator, local government chairman. The money, the public treasury, he's dipping his hands to spend. They consider it his father's biological family inheritance. Therefore, if you raise questions to say, come and explain, or this money you are proposed to do does not, right now there is fuel scarcity, no government is coming up to say, we want to vote XYZ amount. But we can see the same government officials throwing money to irrelevant things that doesn't address our immediate suffering. That is because the people have accepted wrongly.
Is it about acceptance or about ignorance?
The two
or
combined.
Is about
First
some,
of all,
is about some certain conditions that have busted them to
that is why
feign ignorance even when the truth is glaring?
You'll be shocked that even PhD holders are part of this ignorance. Because we've looked around, our social reality shows that they are the ones who are even encouraging even religious leaders. In the daytime, they tell the people to clap hand and pray. In the night, they meet with the political class in hotels, sharing the public treasury. And the majority of the congregants come together. They tell them that why they are succeeding is because of the fasting and prayer they did with their wife. then their own is the bottle of beer they had. That's why Satan is still. So when a people continue to accept that kind of doctrine, it will be difficult. They'll be prolonging the doomsday, and these people will continue to think that they are correct.
Okay, Dr. Noja has an objective view.
He's free. But as long as I'm concerned, that is responsible socially. Why the people don't want to engage the few in government and ask the right questions.
Please, let's hear from him so we can move to our next topic, please.
I don't think that has to do with PhD holders.
No, with due respect, I know you're a PhD holder. I'm not
saying
all the PhD
holders. It's not personal.
Because many of them around. That's what
PhD holders go to go and drink with these people and receive it and then say.
I said they give them bad advice. There is one that is a local government chairman. If you want to stop bunkering, he's burning tankers. Is he not lettered enough to know that burning contributes to the environmental disaster we're trying to prevent? That's an example.
So let's move to our next topic, please. Petrol tanker explosion curtailing the economic consequences. Each pattern safety field will always say disaster will occur in two ways, the natural disaster and the man-made. While the former can't be prevented, the latter can be controlled and prevented. Nigeria is a country where man-made disaster has continued to surface without necessary step to curtail it. In the news, there was a pandemonium at Ido Oro in the Mushin area of Lagos State on Wednesday when a tanker loaded with a premium motor spirit petrol loaded at a MLB filling station in the community. The fire was said to have spread to the adjoining three-story building, burning down the property. It was gathered that the fire started around 1 p.m. when the tanker laden with 33,000 liters of petrol was discharging its content at a filling station on Agege Motor Road. The fire also destroyed property worth millions of naira and rendered many occupants of the building harmless. Our correspondent observed as some residents tried in vain to salvage their property while firefighters battled with inferno. A tenant, Sowemomi Oluwaseyi, blamed the filling station for the incident. He said, quote, "I was at work when my brother called me that the fire from the filling station gutted our house. The filling station does a lot of things that we don't like. We complained to the former DPO at the Alakaras police station, and he said things would be done properly, but this new DPO does not care." This particular tanker that caused this fire today, being yesterday, has been there since yesterday. That's Friday. What was it doing there, he asked. It ought to have discharged its contents and leave the premises. We have been complaining about this art for more than 5 years, but nobody did anything. We're unable to salvage anything. The clothes on me now are what I have left. Even my mom, who is a caterer, our property is in the building and we could not salvage anything. All our plates, coolers, burners, everything is gone. Where do we start from? The guy went on to say, I recently bought some appliances because I was planning to move out of this place, but now everything is gone. Even all my credentials are gone. These are usually the resultant effects, Society Watch says. The big question now is, this is a preventable disaster. What are the measures of preventing future occurrence? It's been there, it's been ongoing, it's been happening. In Rivers State a few months ago, there was tanker explosion at a community in Rivers State here. Same scenario, same occurrence. The thing is that when this news or this incident finds its way to the news, it is meant to put people into prevention modes, to think of what to do, and again to saddle those with the responsibility or who carry out activities like this to know right measures to put in place. But the thing is that, are they even aware? Are they even put their checks and balances on? Do they even know what to do? Dr. Noja, please.
Yeah, I don't think they are doing the right thing. One of the major reasons why these things happen is that if we notice, most of these things, disaster occurs when there is a lingering fuel scarcity. And when there is a fuel scarcity, the tendency to use some illegally approved trailers to go and convey this petrol from the refineries or wherever to the public becomes very high. Then we jettison what has been put in place, the infrastructure that have been put in place for transporting this. Ordinarily, Nigeria has underground pipelines that is supposed to move fuel from even the south to the north, from the south to other parts, distributing these things seamlessly. Now, why were they not using these avenues? Then, come to think of it again, in Nigeria, we know very well that trailers are not allowed to move in the daytime. So when trailers are moving in the daytime, we have hold-ups, traffic jams here and there, and then a trailer load of petrol comes to a place where it's overheated. Even an explosion can come out of. The kind of sunshine we have right now, the kind of heat wave in Nigeria at this particular time in March is extremely very high, that it can precipitate an explosion. So why don't you wait till the night and then convey your trailer if you must move on the road, if you are not using the pipelines? So the logistics department, the transport ministry need to look into this. The trade, Ministry of Trade also need to look into this matter. And then Ministry of Petroleum Resources, because they are responsible for the distribution as well, they need to look into this matter and see that the distribution of fuel does not jeopardize the lives of the citizenry. Even it is enough, it is just hard enough to bear with the issue of fuel scarcity, with unending subsidy removal. It came to a point where I have a student, I'm supervising a project in Canada on petroleum deregulation sector, the deregulation of the petroleum sector in Nigeria. And then last 2 years, there was viola, there was an issue of Nigeria has removed full subsidy. So you have to write on this. Now we are hearing that there is another subsidy remaining. When will subsidy end? Please, I want Nigeria to remove subsidy fully. Let the market rate, the demand and supply determine the full prices of petrol. Every year they say they are going to remove subsidy fully. When they remove it, the next year you hear that subsidy will be removed again. Then Nigerians just keep going into untold hardships of subsidies that are not really documented. We don't even know the extent of subsidy. So we need to take a critical look at this because it's affecting so many lives, so many studies, so many things.
Okay, Pat Obeni, can we tailor these disaster as poor and deterrent approach to perpetrators from those in authority?
No, it's difficult. Everything, the problem we have is traced to the rise and fall of leadership. We have a system that don't believe in consequences or sanctions. You set out the rules, operators, executives, departments go to do a double standard. In more serious societies that desire to develop to an enviable height, once that happens, whoever is somebody takes responsibility. Is either the person who actually carried out the conduct or his principal. In this case, you discover that they are all in the business together. So as long as we've come to accept a culture or we want to tolerate a culture of leadership that don't believe in consequences. For example, like Doug rightly pointed out that we're supposed to have a piping system as a civilized country. Come to think of it, when we say job creation, that's one typical avenue for job creation, because you could imagine the number of young men and women that will be creating more pipes. If you want to go into a filling station business, the design for you to connect to the major depot from NNPC or what have you, and those that will monitor it at every point. So you don't even require tankers in the first place.
At all.
You know, so that in itself, if before now there is such standards, why subvert it? Why compromise it? So if anybody has done so, the minister is supposed to, carry out punitive measures, but they wouldn't, because if we go deeper and investigate, they are also co-owners.
Personal interest.
They are co-owners of most of these filling stations, and that's why you see they don't want it to serve the public interest. going forward, you also have the reason that why should we, okay, when you're talking about subsidy, you can, do you know we're the only oil producing country you talk about subsidizing petroleum products? Subsidy in civilized societies is for other goods and services that, like a kind of daily needs of the citizen, where purchasing power is not enough, for example, food and clothing and what, that's what they subsidize. Yes. It's only in Nigeria you hear subsidy is related to petroleum products. It's very funny. Now, what's of it all? Why you can't even sustain the regulation like we're looking at is because you don't refine even a liter. And the NNPC GMD had come to admit that before the world. Let's even assume, not consider that, okay, you want to remove it. It can only succeed when you have local production, Flora. If you remove it right now, as long as, right now, are you aware that NNPC is the only importer of petroleum? So in that kind of situation, how do you deregulate? It's difficult, you cannot. So as long as these other conditions exist, it's neither here nor there that whether after all, like last we checked, 96 billion daily they signed for this subsidy in Abuja. So if you go closer, it's the same people who don't want either the public refineries or those who are making efforts to create modulars to succeed, because they feel more comfortable making so much from this amount called subsidy. So the whole thing, as I said, the whole thing boils down to the quality of, if Nigerians truly want to be free, I tell you, Flora, before the next election, they will take more seriously the conditions on how they choose these leaders. They must be willing. For example, look at amendments we made in the electoral. There is not enough provision for those who are aspiring to come in debates. Let us interrogate them. They should have very long time to debate. Let us assess you to see if you have a grasp, a clear understanding on what to do, and you must set timelines. Immediately, assuming you're privileged to power, you must set timelines to address some of these fundamental things, introduce values that are accepted all over the world. But here we don't have that kind of culture. Of course, you know more than I do. Our culture of campaign is just the man comes, they play music, he abuses his opponent, everybody claps hand. That represents development. So as long as we promote this kind of culture, I'm afraid that you may not have a kind of standard that would deter future occurrence or those who try to create double standards, rather than they will not, because they know that no matter what happens.
Not to forget, you talked about punitive measures.
Yes,
what of
sanctions and consequences.
Sanctions and all. What if such measures is employed to those who have found wanting in this kind of act?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. What is difficult is that those who are even responsible are co-owners. Some of these trucks you see, they are owned by them. Some of them they don't necessarily own it, but they own it, so they hire. If they tell you how much to hire one of these trucks, you may just resign from this job and go and own one. I'm telling you. So because that happens, you remember that was what got Abati sometime under good luck for over the, because they discovered the company. So that's the same thing happening to the school system. So that's why I said we shouldn't worry about these effects now. We should worry about the quality of leaders. Once you can get the quality of leader right, it will be easier to effectively carry out punitive measures when it becomes necessary. But as long as the crop of leaders and what they believe in is concerned, I tell you, this kind of explosions and the primitive culture of using tankers will continue, because they are co-owners. One, the system, they don't believe that refineries should work low, because if you have multiple, Venezuela used to have over 24 public refineries. So assuming you want to site your fleet, no matter the location, you don't need, the length of your pipe won't be much. So these are innovative ways to prevent them. So technically we are not interested. Legally, we are not interested. So I'm afraid it's till we get the kind of leaders who actually believe in this kind of value system. That's when you will be free from this kind of occurrences.
All right, thank you so much, Pat Obeme, for your in-depth analysis on this topic today. Thank you, Dr. Anthony Owanoja, Director, Institute of Agricultural Research Development, University of Port Harcourt, President, Agricultural Policy Research. Thank you so much for your time on the show today.
Welcome.
Okay, because of time, I'm going to play you the official commissioning of Atlantic Television Network, which was done yesterday. Of course, Society Watch was there, well, ground to cover events, and of course, Maybe because of time, I can't actually play you interviews of dignitaries who actually graced the event yesterday. But hopefully on Sunday, I should be able to do that, give you a full package of all of the events for those who were unable to make it to the event venue yesterday. Here's a clip for you, but trust me to give you a full video, full package of all that went down yesterday. But one thing we're glad to announce to you is that Atlantic Television Network is officially open for commercial business. So get your boot on, get your phone on, get your card on, and most importantly, get your ideas on that you want to sell to the public. This is just the right platform for you to sell that ideas, to sell that event, to sell the program, and to sell everything you want the media to sell for you. We're open for business, Atlantic Television Network. And again, you want to be on our show, you want us to talk about what's happening from your end and society. What all you need to do is hit us on our handle, the Facebook and Facebook and YouTube handle is Atlantic Television Network. Instagram is Atlantic TV Network. Join us and let's get to do business together. And you want to do radio? Trust us, we're the #1 business radio in town. It is 99.5 Wish FM Port Harcourt, your business radio. I will put your jingles, adverts, even grant you interview on the radio. So for now, I'll play you the video clip and just enjoy yourself and have a great weekend. I am Flora Chuk. Bye for now.
It's the official launch and of course it's the official commissioning of Atlantic Television Network and the Wish 99.5 FM right here in Port Harcourt. With me on the red carpet here, he's just going to tell us his name and he'll tell us how he feels about being here today. Good morning, sir.
Morning. I am Honorable Azero Para. I represent the good people of Faga Constituency 3 in Rivers State House of Assembly. It is a thing of joy to be here today. Having seen Atlantic television is a good thing. I think Honorable Chienigwe has been a serious-minded person from origin. He has been a leader of Faga legislative arm, one-time caretaker chairman of Port Harcourt local government, and 2 times member of House of Representatives, and a PhD holder in that matter. I think I am impressed with what he has done, being a reverse indigene. You know, opening a television section in this town is worth celebrating, whether anybody likes it or not. Atlantic Television has come to stay. We will encourage him and patronize him. I think at this point in time, we needed it most. Having seen what His Excellency has put on ground, this is what we want in Rivers State. The developmental strive of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Rivers State, calls for more investors to come down. So for our son to have taken this step, you know, most of our sons would have preferred to go outside the state to establish such a wonderful investment. But he deemed it fit to put it down in the state. It goes to show the good work of the governor. We will encourage him and pray for him that his investment will excel and grow to the greater heights.
We want to thank the management and staff of Atlantic Television, and also to say that in some countries of the world, most of the ugly things that happen in their country, they don't let us know. So from Labour is asking Atlantic Television today to please rebrand Nigeria. Nigeria is crying for rebranding. Rebrand Nigeria, show those things to the world that will make people visit Nigeria. We want to see international tourism increase by the activities of your station. We have enough content that will improve your transmission. So please, let us see this station as one of the stations that will take as a responsibility to please rebrand Nigeria, and that will increase our GDP, it will increase employment, and our nation will grow.
My name is Daba Binibo. I'm the Vice Chairperson of NAWOJ River State. NAWOJ was invited to be part of this program, and we've come to tell you that we are very happy for what we have done, and we know that this media has given opportunity to female journalists to be employed, reducing the labor market in the society business.